Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hey, hey, Hari, Hari, Hari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Jai Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada. Hari Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hari Naam Sankirtan ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Indradyumna Swami Maharaja ki jai. Hare Krishna. So devotees, today we are so very fortunate that we have amongst us one of the most glorious disciples of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, His Holiness Indradyumna Swami Maharaj. So Maharaj joined ISKCON in Detroit, Michigan in 1970, and Maharaj received initiation in the year 1971. In the year 1979, Maharaj took sannyas, and Maharaj has been preaching boldly and spreading the glories of the holy name all across the globe. Maharaj has encircled the globe for preaching Krishna consciousness 35 times. And the journey still goes on. So Maharaj is preaching in European countries such as France, Russia, Ukraine, Poland, South Africa, and especially Maharaj is known for the Pollen Festival. It has been now 34 years that so many Westerners in Europe and different parts of the country, they are coming and participating in this Pollen Festival. Thousands and thousands of people, they come and they chant Hare Krishna, they take Krishna Prasadam, they hear Hari Katha. And these festivals are organized by His Holiness Indradyumna Swami Maharaj. Apart from that, Maharaj is also organizing Sadhu Sangha Kirtan retreats in USA and Kartik Parikrama programs now from past 11 years. And recently Maharaj, around 3 years back, Maharaj started Rishikesh Kirtan retreat as well. So many people are getting inspiration in Rishikesh Dham with Kirtan. Maharaj is very vigilant in terms of deity worship. We see some of the very ancient deities with Maharaj. And Maharaj is also famous for his diary of the traveling monk. Volumes after volumes are coming, inspiring so many preachers and devotees all across the globe. And especially Maharaj is going to launch a very special book for all of us. Since we are in Dwarka, so we need the blessings of sacred forest of Vrindavan, right? So that book is being launched by Maharaj, and today that book would also be there for all of you. Those who want to purchase, they can purchase. Maharaj would tell about that. But yes, we are so very fortunate to have Maharaj amongst us. He has taken out his time for all of us, although he is in demand everywhere. But Maharaj kindly agreed to come to ISKCON Dwarka. So we are feeling so blessed, so very honored, and we are so grateful to Maharaj that he has arrived to ISKCON Dwarka. So let's pay our gratitude and heartiest welcome to Maharaj by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. His Holiness Indradyumna Swami Maharaj Ji ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, समस्त एकत्रित वैष्णव भक्त वृंद की निताय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे।
Jaya Rama Rama Jaya Yogi Hari Jaya Rama Rama Yogi Hari Gopi Janamala Namo Girivara Jai Girivara Gopi Janamala Ayo Girivara Girivara Yasudanandana Jayo Rajajanandana Yasudanandana Jayo Rajajanandana Munatira Anatari Jayo Hari. Unatira, Unatari, Dayo, Kunjari, Hari, Kunja, Vihari. Radhamadava, Jayo, Kunja, Vihari. Radhamadava, Jayo, Kunja, Vihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh! Kirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Bol Hare Ram Rama Ram Hare Hare Bol bhai hey hey go Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gregor Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Whoa! Jai Shri Ram Jai Shri Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Shri Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Ram Hare Jai Shri Ram Vivo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare Jai Shri Ram Vivo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Hey Your friends are Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Kirtan, hey! Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Bye-bye. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Nitai Gauranga Jai, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga Jai, Nitai Gauranga. Hare Nitai Gauranga Jai, Nitai Gauranga. Hare Nitai Gauranga Jai, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga Jai, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga Jai, Gaur Hari. Hare Nitai Gauranga Jai, Gaur Hari. Hare Nitai Gauranga Jai, Gaur Hari. Gaur Hari, Bolo. Gaur Hari. Nityananda Ram. Nityananda Ram. Nitai Gauranga Jai, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga Jai, Nitai Gauranga. Hare Nitai Gauranga Jai, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga, Gaur Hari. Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. If I go Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Kirtan, hey! Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. One more. Jai Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Go and permanently. Go and permanently. Jai Satago, Prem, 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 Nisai, go, Prem, 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 Prem. Nisai, go, Prem, 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 Prem. Hey, hey, Shri Radhe. Hey, hey, Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. New Dwarka Dham, okay?
Holiness, Indradyumna Swami Maharaja ki!
It's an error. We should get this checked. This is boy. It's like a little avadut. What's his name? How? Maharaja. Oma Gyan Timadandasya Gyanangana Shilakaya Chaksu Militam Jena Tasmai Si Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Shwayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Sva Padantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivindam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Shh, Shanti, Shanti. I know a few words in Hindi. Toda, Toda. And Shanti, Shanti. I'd like to begin this evening by thanking the authorities of this very beautiful temple with extraordinary worship of your deities for inviting me here to give a humble address to this august assembly of Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. At the lotus feet of Shri Shri Rukmini Dwarkadish. That's the most important. On the way here I was thinking about this term, New Dwarka. You're in the region of Dwarka, this part of the city, southernmost part. And this is New Dwarka ISKCON. The term New Dwarka actually indicates a place, a project, or a temple named after the transcendental abode of Dwarka. Where does the word come from? Dwarka. It's on the west coast, the original Dwarka, not the Delhi Dwarka. The original Dwarka is on the west coast of India, and by using this term New Dwarka, it's meant to embody the same mood as the original Dwarka. Just like when Srila Prabhupada left Vrindavan in 1965 to come to the West, essentially he was bringing us Vrindavan, because Vrindavan is the topmost abode of the Lord, even beyond the unlimited Vaikuntha planets. Vaikuntha is the official kingdom of God, where the Lord is worshipped as He desires in Aishvarya Bhav, servant master. But Gaudiya Vaishnavas, those who are followers of the most recent incarnation of God, of Bhagavan, Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they understand there's a topmost planet, the highest planet, Golok. Srila defines that topmost destination as Goloka, a planet of cows. A planet of cows, rightfully so. Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Go Brahmanya Hitaya Cha, Jagaditaya Krishnaya, Go. Two things are very dear to, many things are dear to the Lord, but in this verse two things in particular. Brahmanas. Why Brahmanas? Because Lord comes and Lord goes. He comes to this planet, Paritranaya Sadhanam, Vinashaya Duskritam, Dharma Samstha. He comes to deliver his devotees, to annihilate the miscreants, and re-establish Dharma by speaking Bhagavad Gita. But he comes and he goes, but in his absence, it's the Brahmanas who keep the preaching going. So therefore they're very dear to the Lord. It's like you have in your country Agarwal and Sons, or Sharma and Sons. I see it everywhere. There's the father, and then the sons are included. Our family business is the business of preaching Krishna consciousness, because our father is Krishna. He says in Gita that he's the seed-giving father of all created beings. So when he comes and he goes, those who carry on his mission, they're due great respect. Apaka Brahmana, very dear to Krishna. But in Vrindavan, we hear in Braj, Krishna, every morning after Nanda and Yashoda wake him up and takes his bath and he has his breakfast, and then he leaves very early in the morning. The whole day, Krishna goes to the pasturing grounds of Vrindavan, in particular around Govardhan Hill, because the cows, they love the grass at Govardhan Hill because it's very soft. Those of you who are cow herdsmen who work in a goshala, you know generally the cows go to eat, but the grass cuts their tongues sometimes. I saw that. The grass has a sharp nature, cuts their tongues when they eat. But at Govardhan Hill, the grass is very soft and very lush. The milk produced from the grass at Govardhan Hill is very much appreciated by the Brajbasis. They can offer it to Lala Krishna in his taste. And it doesn't cut the tongues. So Krishna spends most of the day in the pasturing grounds with Balaram and cowherd boys herding the cows and the cows and the cows. And in the evening he comes back. Most of his time is spent with cows. So therefore, Golok. And Golok, when Krishna comes to this world, he brings the whole spiritual world with him. Just like when a king travels, we don't have kings anymore, but previously they were kings, they take their family, they take their servants, their entourage, their military. It was a big expedition. So when the King of Kings, when the Emperor, Krishna, comes, he brings the spiritual world. And he brings on 900,000 cows. Because Nanda Maharaj, he has his goshala. They're cowherd, they're Vaishyas, they're cowherd people. Simple living, high thinking. 900,000 cows. So Golok. Golok indicates. So he brings Vrindavan. And when Prabhupada left Vrindavan proper, here 2.5 hours away, to come to the West, he wanted to bring Vrindavan to the West. He wanted people to be introduced to this wonderful message of Lord Chaitanya, that the highest conception of love of God is that of the Brajavasis, who love Krishna more than anyone's ever been loved before. And Krishna loves the Brajavasis more than anyone's ever been loved before. And their relationships take on the intimacy of friendship and parentalhood and love like that. So when Prabhupada came to America, and it was time to make a community, because so many Western boys and girls, they were coming very quickly. They were very sinful. I can tell you, I was part of the crowd. 1960s, we were naughty. Not even naughty, we were bad. Like dacoit. But Prabhupada said, he forgave us. He said, when you heard the chanting of Hare Krishna, all you Western boys and girls, you came running. I love that. You came running. Kali Kali Na Murit Krishna Avatar, because the holy name was one of the incarnations in this age. Kaviraj Goswami said, you came running. So very quickly Prabhupada wanted to introduce us to Goloka or Gokula. He didn't hesitate. No time was wasted. First community was New Vrindavan. New Vrindavan. He was so kind. New Vrindavan. And he wanted originally, there were a lot of hills, a lot of little mountains in that property in West Virginia. He wanted 7 temples. Just like in Braj, there's 7 principal temples. Srila Prabhupada, when he was living in Vrindavan, every morning he would visit, he'd go on Parikrama and visit the 7 temples of Vrindavan. In the evening, Prabhupada would go back and visit the 7 temples of Vrindavan. That's our tradition, to come to the temple and see the Lord. Have darshan. And more so, Krishna can have darshan of us. He can look into our hearts. Cheto Darbana Maharaj. He can cleanse our hearts just by his glance. Therefore, a sincere devotee spends a little time in front of the deities. He just doesn't go, oh, very nice dress today. There's a certain mood in front of the deity where you're opening your heart. Mercy, mercy, mercy. Arshtavigraha means the most merciful form of God, Prabhupada said, because he doesn't go. He comes and he stays. I was recently in Mayapur, in Nrsimhapali. There's a deity of Nrsimhadev, Swayambhu, self-manifested deity from Satya Yuga. So Arshtavigraha, merciful form of the Lord. So in coming to America, Prabhupada wanted a new Vrindavan, and he wanted it to be a replica of Vrindavan in India or Vrindavan in the spiritual world. So when we say New Dwarka, we want to imbibe that mood of Dwarka, the original Dwarka. I was thinking, just like in my country, United States of America, we have New York. Everyone knows New York. They call it the Big Apple. I call it the Rotten Apple. But the name originates because there were pilgrims. We call them pilgrims in a mundane sense. They left England because there was so much politics going on. So they boarded a boat and they came to America. It was just land at that time, habited by American Indians. And it was 1664. 1664. And they got to America and they started cultivating the land, and then they developed a city, these people from England. So they decided what to call the city. They called it New York, because in England there's a prominent city called York. So they came to America, a little sentimental, oh, we miss York. So let's imbibe the mood. New York. You ask any New Yorkers, they don't have a clue what the city was named after. New York. Or New Jersey. There's a city in the UK called Jersey. Let's call it New Jersey. Or on the western part of America, there was a big struggle, and we got some land from the Mexicans, so we made a state. We called it New Mexico. Now Santa Fe, New Mexico, like that. So in a transcendental way, purely transcendental way, you have New Dwarka. And the presiding deities are very much in the mood of Dwarka, where Krishna rules as a king, and his consort is Rukmini. Shishi, Rukmini, Dwarkadish, Ki Jai. So I thought, because we're all sitting not in New York or New Jersey or New Mexico, I don't want to talk about those places anymore. Let's talk about New Dwarka. Let's discuss some of the glories of Dwarka by the sea. In order to imbibe some of the mood of the Dwarka Vasis. We have Mayapur Vasis, we have Braja Vasis, and we have Dwarka Vasis. They're all perfect. Jiva Goswami, in discussing these different abodes of the Lord, the prominent abodes of the Lord, he said, Dwarka by the sea is perfect. Mathura, because the mood becomes a little more intimate, it's more perfect. And Vrindavan is most perfect because of the mood of the Brajabasis. But we shouldn't think, oh, Dwarka is inferior. No, these holy places exist. These moods of serving Krishna exist because Krishna likes it like that. So we can't think one is better than the other. Variety is the spice of life. So in rasa, it's a deep subject matter, but rasa, there's different mellows, different moods, because, well, Krishna likes it like that. And some devotees, inherently in their hearts, they want to live in Dwarka. I'm not going to go to Mathura. I'm not going to go to Vrindavan, where all those village people, we like the big city, Dwarka Dham ki jai. Cowherd boys, those girls. Mahaprabhu said, or generally it's understood, that those who are followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they're actually aspiring for the mood of the gopis. Every morning we chant to Tulsi Devi, please make me a gopi in Vrindavan. It's deep, but all the moods are nice, all the dhams are nice. So we're Dwarka Vasis. Jai Rukmini Dwarkaji's ki! So let's talk a little bit about Dwarka by the sea, so we can appreciate our good fortune to sit at the lotus feet of Rukmini Dwarkaji's. To begin with, Dwarka, how many holy places are there in India? Countless. Countless holy places. But Dwarka is known as one of the Char Dhams. You know better than me, Char Dhams. One of the 4 most important holy places in the country. Dwarka, Rameshwaram, Jagannath Puri, Badrinath. Rameshwaram K, Jagannath Puri K, Badrinath K, Dwarka K! And you'll be proud to know that historically, Krishna spent most of his time during his appearance 5,000 years ago in Dwarka. He spent most of his time, 140 some odd years? He spent 100 years in Dwarka, more than he spent in Vrindavan and Mathura combined. He really likes this place. Of course, we know he left Vrindavan as a boy on the invitation of who? Kamsa, to fight the wrestlers Chanura and Mushtika. And there, to make a long story short, he killed Kamsa, and then he stayed in Mathura for a little while, but then he went to Dwarka, and he had a city built by Vishwakarma, the architect of the demigods, in order to protect his kinsmen. Blood is thicker than water, so Krishna, his near and dear are his kinsmen or his devotees. They were the members of the Yadu dynasty, and there were still a lot of demons running around. Jarasandha, Shishubal, etc. So to protect them, Krishna had Vishwakarma built the beautiful city of Dwarka. But we know that during Krishna's absence from Vrindavan, his devotees there, they were simply crying, crying, crying in separation. It's deep, but we have to know who we are and we have to know where we're going. What is the impetus for going back to the transcendental abodes of the Lord? Because we hear about them, we develop a hankering for going to them. So a little bit deep tonight. One time, my dear godbrother, senior godbrother, worshipable godbrother, Gaur Govinda Maharaj, he was asked by a newspaper reporter in Bhubaneswara, Swamiji, what is the essential purpose of this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON? ISKCON. So he said, I think it was his first day on the job or something, he's got a piece of paper, why ISKCON? What is the purpose of ISKCON? So Gaur Govinda Maharaj said, crying, 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 crying. Vipralamba Bhav. When you reach the peak of Krishna consciousness, O Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain. Krishna, I'm feeling very vacant in this world in your absence. Vipralamba Bhav. So he said, crying, crying. That's the purpose of ISKCON. Crying, crying, crying. So the newspaper boy said, I should print that? Yes, you should print. Krishna book, which we still distribute, all around the world. It's one of the first books we had in ISKCON. In the introduction, or somewhere towards the beginning, Prabhupada notes, he said, this Krishna book which is a simple presentation of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. He said, this Krishna book will give solace to my followers when they come to the stage of Vipralambha Bhav. Yes, Prabhupada wanted us to become pure devotees. He wanted us to preach, distribute books, but he also wanted us to become pure devotees and go home back to Godhead. So he said that this book, Krishna book, which I was distributing in the ghettos in Motor City, Detroit, to the poor people, Prabhupada intended it to give solace to when devotees become very advanced in Krishna consciousness. So it's all there. We have to study it. We have to know where we want to go. So when Krishna left Vrindavan, the Brajabasis missed him more than anyone's ever been missed before. Because as much as you're attached to something, when you lose it, to that degree you feel separation. Like if you have a Swatch watch, do they have that in India? Swatch? Really fairly cheap. You know, if you lose it, rats, I lost mine. But if you have a Rolex, whoa! So if you have Krishna, finally, that the goal of all goals, to have Krishna, and you lose him, your heart's broken. Just like one of my godbrothers, he was very bad one time. I won't go into detail, but he committed some really sinful things, and he came to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was very angry. "You one of my senior disciples, you're acting like that? If you continue like that, I'll withdraw my mercy from you." What does Bhaktivinoda Thakur say? "Guru Maharaj, your mercy is all that I'm made of. I'm just running behind you, shouting, Krishna, Krishna." We only exist by the mercy of our spiritual master. So Prabhupada said, if you continue this nonsense, I'll withdraw my mercy. The devotee actually fainted. He was a good devotee, just made a mistake. He came to, "No, Prabhupada, please don't withdraw your mercy from me." All right, but no more nonsense. So if we lose the Vaishnavas, the community, our strength is in numbers. If we lose the community of Vaishnavas, Prabhupada said, if you think you can be Krishna conscious outside the association of devotees, you're an illusion. If we disobey our spiritual master, if we lose Krishna, we've lost everything. So Krishna left. It sounds kind of cruel, isn't it, that Krishna left Vrindavan? He went to Mathura, he went to Dwarka, but the Acharyas have told us that it was all in a plan of the Lord to increase love. Love reigns supreme in Vrindavan. But to increase that love, because it's always increasing, here it's interrupted by divorce. Here it's interrupted by death. Romeo and Juliet, talk about a perfect, loving relationship in this world. Sorry. Sadhu means who speaks strongly and removes your material attachments. But in the spiritual world, love ad infinitum. It just increases. Anandu buddhi bharavanam. Prabhupada said Krishna consciousness is blissful when it's expanding. So you just keep loving Krishna more and more and more. Krishna loves you more. And love is the most precious thing. It's the highest happiness. So this is what Prabhupada's offering us. So we can understand a little bit. When Krishna left, there's a poem in Ariyan called Mathura Mandala, where the gopis come and they're lamenting as Akura's, the horses, he's got Krishna Balaram in the chariot, and the gopis lie down in front of the chariot and they're calling out to Krishna and Balaram, don't go. The Mathura Mangalam is a prayer about 3 hours long. It's a heartbreaker. Oh. But it's all to increase the gopis' love. Why? There's a maxim in English, separation makes the heart grow fonder. When your husband goes away on business, and, Prabhu, when are you coming back? It's been 2 weeks now. Yeah, but you kicked me out of the house. Sometimes there's... But that was just a little fight we had, you know. Come back. Or your child goes off to university, ladies. Your little Lala, who grew up. Children are so cute, and then they go to the university. And, you never call home anymore. I love you more than ever before. So what about Krishna, the most lovable object, the most lovable person? These are all the plans of the Lord to increase our devotion. So now, he went to Mathura, then Krishna went to Dwarka. He built a big city. Vishwakarma, hurry up, there's lots of demons. I need to protect my devotees. So while he was in Dwarka for 100 years, might be a good idea to be a Dwarkavasi, because every day you get to see the Lord come out of the palace and walk down with his 16,108 princes. And the flowers are there and the bugles are blowing. And Krishna looks at you. Hare Krishna. You can see him every day. In Vrindavan. So one of his pastimes was, he's the master of all mystics. He accepted, it's a long story, but he accepted 16,108 wives. And he made 16,108 palaces. And he lived in each of those palaces simultaneously. When Narada Muni visited Dwarka, he was like, wow, Krishna's in this palace, you know, having breakfast with one of his wives, and he went to the next palace, and Krishna's just, you know, lounging in a chair and having family talk with one of his wives. He went to another one, and she's cooking lunch, and wow, this Krishna is amazing. 16,108 wives. A mystic yogi, he can expand into 12 forms. Wow, a mystic yogi. But all those forms do the same thing at the same time. If one form raises the hand, the second form. For Krishna, supreme independence, supreme personality of Godhead, he can expand himself into so many different forms. And each of the wives is thinking, Krishna's only with me. Krishna's only with me. Dwarka is an amazing place. Actually, by Prabhupada's grace, there's a purport about Dwarka. First canto, chapter 10, verse 27. Prabhupada writes about Dwarka, New Dwarka. He writes, the heavenly planets are more celebrated than the earth, but the celebrity of earth has defeated that of the heavenly planets because of Dwarka, where Lord Shri Krishna reigned as a king. 3 places, namely Vrindavan, Mathura, and Dwarka, are more important than the famous planets within this universe. These places are perpetually sanctified because whenever the Lord descends on this earth, he displays his transcendental activities, particularly in these 3 places. They are perpetually the holy lands of God. And the inhabitants still take advantage of the holy places, even though the Lord is sometimes out of their sight. So in and around present-day Dwarka, I went there. I went to Dwarka one time. I was just, wow, I want to see the palaces, and you know, the 16,108 palaces. They're all gone. Unless Apakat means that the pastimes are eternal, actually. The Dham is eternal. It's never destroyed. Even when the creation is destroyed, Vrindavan, Ayodhya Dham, Jai Sri Ram! Jai Sri Ram! Jai Sri Ram! I had to say it. Puri, all these places, they're eternal. They don't get destroyed at the time of the dissolution of the cosmos. So if you have the spiritual vision, you go to Dwarka, you can see the palaces. You can see Dwarkadish. You can see the queens, 16,108 queens, it's all there. But even now there's holy places there that you can visit. Like there's a special lake near Dwarka where our Gopi Chandan comes from. It's actually described. I was wondering, where's it described in Shastra about, this lake where the Gopi Chandan comes from? I'd heard different versions. But it's actually in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, in the Krishna Janma Kanda section, chapter 41. And it's in connection with the famous pastime that everybody knows. Krishna has a headache. Have you all heard that pastime? Raise your hand. Krishna has a headache, right? It's described in detail in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. I'll share it with you. Therein it states that one time Krishna had a headache while in Dwarka, and there was one Vaidyaraj, means the king of the Ayurvedic physicians. He said to Satyabhama, one of the queens, and Narada Muni, he was visiting, Jwartap niva shritam vaidyam vidi kevalam an gika haran raj praptam yahim shurodari yam. Only the dust from the feet of a saintly person can cure the head of the king of Dwarka, Dwarkadish. It's this pastime's part of the Bhav here, a Dwarka. You can stand proud. Sometimes, a Maharaj comes, you're visiting a temple, and he tells a story. Krishna has a headache. Wait a minute. Once Swamiji visited New Dwarka, and he says it's in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, and I'll tell you the details, Swamiji. Okay. So Narada Muni, he left Dwarka, and he began going everywhere, asking great devotees for the dust of their feet, instead of some aspirin or Tylenol or whatever. The dust of the feet of the devotee. But out of fear, no, I can't give the dust of my feet to Bhagwan. That's aparat. I'll go to hell. So returning to Dwarka, Narada said to Satyabhama, because she was part of the original, the Vaidya, the physician, he said to both of them, Narada said to Satyabhama, Jatum sarva loka bhyam kailash amarati dwarka purim santum brahma lokesh na jahiyam charanarajam. Hey Satyabhama! I asked throughout the 14 worlds for the dust of a devotee's feet for Krishna's headache. I even went to see Lord Brahma in Brahmaloka, and then I went to see Lord Shiva in Kailash. But everyone denied it, saying it would be a great sin to give the dust of their feet to Krishna's head. So Krishna, the news spread to Krishna. Oh, migraine. It's all Leela. Oh, migraine, what's happening? Where's the dust? So Krishna came, he's Avigana Swarat. He's present everywhere, so therefore he knows everything that's happening. He knows you're listening to this class. He knows if you're staying awake or not. He's writing in his little black book. So Krishna came in, he said to Narada and Satyabhama, my dear Satyabhama and Narada, I believe the Braja Gopis, who are most surrendered to me, will give the dust, the shelter of their feet to cure my headache. Go to Vrindavan immediately, asked them. One time I was listening to a class of Srila Prabhupada, and he was discussing the beautiful characteristics of different devotees and their different moods of serving Krishna. Going like in Brihat Bhagavatamrita, like that. And Prabhupada summarizing, and then he came and he said, But the gopis, they never asked anything from Krishna. Then Prabhupada broke down crying in the lecture. He was 15 minutes into the lecture. He said, but the gopis, they never asked Krishna for anything. And he started crying, and then that was the end of the tape. It was one of the most important lectures I ever heard. To hear our beloved founder Acharya, because the pure devotees hold back their emotions. They don't want the public to follow them for that reason. They want the public to follow them for the knowledge they're giving. But as Jesus said, he said, sometimes my cup runneth over with love. You have a cup. Sometimes my cup runneth over with love. So sometimes pure devotees, it just kind of comes out like that. So, Prabhupada said, the gopis, they never ask, oh, you can hear him crying. Come on. I wanted just that little section. Oh, go to sleep hearing Prabhupada cry. Oh, it's very deep, intimate. But we have access to a resident of Vrindavan. We're very, very blessed. We're very full. We should never leave his lotus feet. So, Krishna said, they'll do anything for me, the gopis. So go. So the Brahma Vaivarta Purana says, Gopika kun sarvo bharak, yam yam sarva marit lahim, ananta kana prapta bhyam, gopi charan rajashutam. From the moonlight, dust, it's so poetic, Krishna consciousness. It's the supreme poetry. From the moonlight dust of the gopis' feet, Krishna was freed from all the pain and worries. The remaining particles, because the gopis gave the dust. I'll go to hell for Krishna. If I go to hell but Krishna's headache is cured, so be it. So it says, this verse says, the remaining particles of dust, Gopi Chandan, were made into a hill and then converted into a lake by the tears coming from the eyes of Krishna in love for the gopis. Dwarka Shake! So that golden clay, the dust of the feet of the gopis, mixed with the tears of Krishna. You're wearing that on your foreheads right now. So therefore, we, as often as possible, we should wear Gopi Chandan. Oh, I'm a little shy to go to school. Hey, that's the best decoration. You can go in fancy clothes and your hair like this and whatever. But the supreme decoration is Gopi Chandan. The dust of the feet of gopis and Krishna's tears. Go to work, gentlemen. Go do your IT, computer research with big tilak like that. Ha ha ha, they're laughing at you. We say, he who laughs first laughs last. Because when Yamaraj comes, if you're wearing tilak, come with me, but not to Yamalok. Go back home to Vaikuntha, go to Goloka. So while in Dwarka, Krishna ruled as a majestic king, surrounded by opulence, unlimited surrendered devotees, and his citizens, they worshipped him in the mood of this Aishvarya Bhava. Sir, yes sir. That's fine. To be the servant of a glorious master is most wonderful. Like one time, Prabhupada was walking on the beach in Juhu, in Mumbai, previously Bombay, and he was walking with his disciples, and he saw two dogs. One dog was being walked by his master. He was a fluffy dog, all white, nicely groomed, tail in the air, ooh. And one dog was scavenging in the garbage, skinny, diseased. So Prabhupada, he's so practical, he could turn anything into Krishna consciousness. He said, my dear disciples, what is the difference between these two dogs? So, the devotees, this one's white, this one's brown. They couldn't figure it out. So Prabhupada, the difference is, one dog has a master, and he's very happy. And the other dog has no master, and he's forlorn, scavenging through the garbage. So to be the servant of a glorious master, that's as high as we can come, and that's where we want to be. In fact, we want to be the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. We don't want to be the big fish anymore. We want to be the servant of the servant, because servant of the servant of the servant means there's so much dust on your head. This acharya, that acharya, this acharya, this devotee, this devotee, right down to your temple president. Servant, this is the most glorious position we can attain. So Aishvarya Bhava, worshipping the Lord as master and servant. This is our first relationship, even before we think of Vrindavan. We worship our deities in the mood of Dwarka, in the mood of Aishwarya Bhav. First you have to establish the relationship that God is very great and you are very small before you try to understand God's confidential pastimes in Vrindavan. Otherwise you'll think he's some ordinary boy with the girls. That's very offensive. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we don't dress our Radha Krishna deities like Radha and Krishna are dressed in Vrindavan. No, we dress them like Rukmini Dwarkadish, very opulent. Sir, yes sir, I am your servant, you're my master. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Like that. So the citizens in Dwarka, they worship him in that mood. And this is confirmed. If you say something in learned circles, you have to be able to give a quote from Shastra to support it. If you're if you say something, you can't make it up. You have to say something that you can find a verse in Scripture that supports it. So where's there a verse in Scripture that this mood of Aishwarya Bhav, master and servant, is authorized? Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 11th chapter, verses 25, 26, 27. Shall I recite those verses? Shishi Rukmani Dwarkadish K! New Dwarkadam K! All the Dwarkavasis K! So here's your Bob, here's your mood, here's the verse. The inhabitants of Dwarka were regularly accustomed to look upon the reservoir of all beauty, the infallible Lord, yet they were never satiated. The Lord's chest is the abode of the goddess of fortune. His moon-like face is the drinking vessel for eyes which hanker after all that is beautiful. His arms are the resting places for the administrative demigods, and his lotus feet are the refuge of pure devotees who never talk or sing of any subject except his lordship. As the Lord passed along the public road of Dwarka, his head was protected from the sunshine by a white umbrella. White feathered fans moved in semicircles, and showers of flowers fell upon the road. His yellow garments and garlands of flowers made it appear as if a dark cloud were surrounded simultaneously by the sun, the moon, lightning, and rainbows. Hari Bol. You should memorize this verse. This is the verse of New Dwarka. That's Dwarka, but just as Gokul is non-different than Golok, you should make New Dwarka non-different than Dwarka. And how to do so? By this meditation. Meditating on Rukmini Dwarkadish. When you see them, you should be able to recite this prayer. The Sanskrit, and especially the translation, you should flow from your tongue like the Ganges flows down from the Himalayan mountains. Okay? 1st canto, 11th chapter, verses 25, 26, and 27. If you're very kind, please invite me back here next year, but you can only come in this hall if you can all simultaneously recite that verse. Okay? Do we have an agreement? Okay. 1, 11, 25, 26, 27. It's not that long, it's a nice meditation on the way to work. Inhabitants of Dwarka were regularly accustomed to look upon the reservoir of all beauty, the infallible Lord, yet they were never satiated. The Lord's chest is the abode of the goddess of fortune. His moonlight face, honk, honk, is the drinking vessel for eyes which hank after all those. Hey, get out of the bus! And his arms are like the resting place. You missed your bus stop. Yes, but his arms are the resting places for the administrative demigods, and his lotus feet are the refuge of pure devotees. It should flow from your heart because you're a new Dwarka. And that mood of awe and reverence, it's a very relishable mood. It's as Gopakumar describes, let's go a little deeper, in Brihat Bhagavatamrita. You know, he's passing through different dhams. I hope you've read Brihat Bhagavatamrita by Sanatana Goswami. It's the first book of the Goswamis. It's stated that all the other books evolved from Brihat Bhagavatamritam. It's 3 volumes. So Gopakumar is going through different holy places, like relishing. Like you have a plate of prasad. You start with the salties, right? The dal, the rice, the sabji. Then you go to the jalebis, and you go to the rasgullas, and the misti dohi from Bengal. So he's going through different dhams. Like we travel, we go in Purikrama to Vrindavan, to Dwarka, to Mathura, to Mayapur, to Shurirangam, etc. So as Gopakumar is going through Dwarka, he's relishing. He describes Dwarka, and he's a pure devotee. Listen to how he sees the place you live now. He said, the happiness found in liberation is said to be supreme. Multiplied many millions of times, it might be said to equal the joy in Vaikuntha. And if any joy still greater can be conceived, it is that which is found in Ayodhya. But the joy born in Dwarka, how can anyone even begin to describe it? Gopakumar ki. That's another verse you should memorize. Brihat Bhagavatamrita. So it's all very nice, different moods, varieties of ways to serve the Lord. But for connoisseurs, I don't know how you'd say in Hindi, connoisseur, someone who's expert in something. For the connoisseurs of spiritual knowledge, those searching for the highest spiritual truth, there's actually a deeper understanding of rasa, or love for Krishna, that's even most pleasing to Krishna. And that's the love of the residents of Vrindavan. Krishna himself states that. Aishvarya janate shaba jagata mishvitya. Aishvarya stila preme nahi mora prita. Knowing my opulences, it's a famous verse, knowing my opulences, the whole world looks upon me with awe and veneration, but devotion made feeble by such reverence does not really attract me. So as a result, Krishna, he likes the mood of the Dwarkavasis, but while he was in Dwarka, what was his mood? In his mind and his heart, he was always hankering to go to Vrindavan. So you too, you're here in Dwarka, worshipping Rukmini Dwarkadish, but deep down, you want to run to Vrindavan. Our Dwarkadish, when he was in Dwarka, he's still in Dwarka, Apakat Leela, he loved the residents of Dwarka, but he couldn't forget the Brajavasis. It's described when Dwarkadish was sleeping at night with his queens, in his sleep he would call out, Lalita! Vishaka! Champakalata! Tungavidya! Oh, Radhe! I'm just quoting scripture, it's okay. And the queens would say, who's Lalita? It's not one of the 16,000 under name. And then often during the day, Krishna would be in his room and he'd be crying from the gopas and the gopis, and his mother and his father. And they were also thinking of him. They were also crying. All these feelings of separation cause this suffering, so-called, it's not suffering. It's actually, again, just increasing love. In the Brihat Bhagavatamritam, Krishna says to Narada, while they're both in Dwarka, it's quite deep, this anguish of separation is praised as greater than the happiness of enjoying one's loved ones. Separation is so pleasing to the mind that it cannot be described. It always transforms at last into an abundance of pleasure. Only experts in tasting these moods can understand how this happens. So I'm not qualified to speak about it. But separation makes the heart grow fonder. Now, part of Krishna's frustration is that he couldn't share this with the Dwarkavasis. He couldn't tell them, well, there's my devotees in Vrindavan, the cowherd boys, I wrestle with them. The king wrestles with the subjects? He couldn't share it. Because how could they understand? But amongst the residents of Dwarka, there were a few who could understand this mood of Braja, and they knew why Krishna was crying all day and calling out the names of these girls nobody knew. Vishaka! They knew. There's a few Dwarkavasis who could understand Braj. So I'm sure amongst you, there's a few who understand what I'm talking about. And one was Rohini. Who's Rohini? She's the mother of Balaram, right? In Braj Leela, she's the mother of Balaram. Yashoda's the mother of Krishna, so Rohini, in one way, she's the mother of Balaram. So she actually moved to Dwarka. She left Vrindavan and came to Dwarka. So she could see this as, Krishna, oh, what are you crying about? I know. So one day with the queens, she kind of spilled the beans, we say in English. That's not a really good way to say it. We say she let the secret out about Dwarkadish in Vrindavan. It happened during a visit of Narada Muni to Dwarka. There was this private assembly of all the 16,108 queens, and Narada's there. Narada, he likes to glorify devotees. Oh, my dear queens, you're such great devotees. You're the best servants of Krishna anywhere. But one of the queens, she raised her hand. Narada, we've heard rumors that Dwarkadish wants to go back to Vrindavan because, well, the Brajabasis, they're the best devotees, especially the gopis. You're not telling us that. So after Narada had finished his address, and he left the queens, they turned to Rohini and they said, you're Balaram's mother, you were in Vrindavan, so tell us something about Krishna in Vrindavan. What's going on here? But not wanting Krishna to hear about how the Brajabasis love him. He wasn't there, he was wandering around the palace somewhere. And so he'd start crying. Rohini asked Subhadra, Krishna's sister, to guard the door. Okay, I'm going to tell you, all you ladies, about Dwarkadish when he's in Vrindavan, but I don't want Krishna to hear, because if he hears about the gopis, he'll just cry more all day. So Subhadra, you stay at the door while I expound the glories of our Dwarkadish when he's in Braj. So Subhadra said, yes, I will guard the door. I won't let Krishna or Balaram in. So all the queens, they sat down like this. And Rohini, who lived in Vrindavan, who saw the mood of the Brajabasis, she told the queens, my dear ladies, you sometimes think Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and you can see his four hands. Yes, yes, he's supreme personality of Godhead. He has his four hands. She said, but wait. She said, the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they see Dwarkadish as a lala. The king's a lala. He has a maya. Yes, he's an innocent boy. He's 7 years old. He's 100 years old here. And he dances with his devotees. And he spends a lot of time playing a flute. Dwarkadish plays flute. Yeah, yeah. And he wears a turban. Not a crown. No, he wears a turban. With all the jewels? No, peacock feather. And he's loved, and he loves cowherd boys and cowherd girls. Vaishyas? Now, as she went on describing the beauty of Dwarkadish's pastimes as Krishna in Vrindavan, Krishna is a Vigna Swarat, again, he's present everywhere by his energies. So he knew what was going on. So sensing that he was being talked about, he came with Balaram to enter into the assembly hall. But when he got to the door, Subhadra said, no, you can't come in. You're my little sister. You can't come in. She's Yogamaya. You don't fool around with Yogamaya. So Krishna and Balaram and Subhadra, they just stood there listening to these wonderful descriptions of Braj Bhav. And hearing about their pastimes of Vrindavan and how the Brajabasis love them, they became overwhelmed with intense feelings of separation from Vrindavan. And it begins really deep here, but it should be told. They became so ecstatic that their eyes became very wide. Like you hear something wonderful, oh! Like sometimes Prabhupada would be explaining some wonder of Krishna, he'd go, oh! I can't do it, but you've seen Prabhupada's eyes, haven't you? So Krishna, Balaram, and Subhadra, they were hearing about the love of the Brajbasis. Their eye, oh! And their heads became compressed inside their bodies. Like we hear in Gambhira, Anchi Leela, it's like, whoa. Mahaprabhu, all his limbs went inside his body. It's really deep. So their heads went into their bodies, and their limbs retracted, like this. And they appeared just like the forms that we worship today as Jagannath, Subhadra, and Baladev. We often say, Jagannath's in the mood of Vrindavan. And now you know why. Because they heard the glories. Krishna, Balaram, Subhadra, Dwarka, they heard about Braj. So next time you see Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra, they're in the ecstasy of Braj Bhakti. But after some time they became conscious and they came back to their other form. So see, Narada Muni was witnessing all this because he was there and he knew what was happening. And he saw, he's looking, he's there listening to Rohini tell the story. And he looked over by the door and there's Jagannath, Subhadra, and Baladev. Like, where did they come from? But he knew. Hearing the glories of Vrindavan, Krishna manifested ecstasy like that. So Narada Muni came and he spoke to Krishna and to Balaram and to Subhadra. He said, those forms that you just exhibited. He said, my desire, Krishna, my desire, Balaram, my desire, Subhadra, is to see the three of you remain in those forms somewhere in the world so the whole world can see you as Jagannath, Balaram, and Subhadra. And I predict, in that form, you will be Patit Pavan, the savior of the fallen, and the entire world will be liberated by your darshan. That is what I want. So Krishna is controlled by the love of his devotees. He loves Narada Muni. So in love, he said, okay, so it will be. I will manifest these three deities as well as the Sudarshan Chakra in the city of Jagannath Puri on the bank of the ocean. So I don't want to take too long, but I just hold on because it gets better. Krishna consciousness just gets better. If you stick to the straight and narrow, Krishna consciousness gets better and better. So soon after this pastime where they exhibited their forms like that, Krishna approached Rohini, because she's a Brajbasi, she knows. And he said, Rohini, I'm actually thinking of going back to Vrindavan, but I just want their love to keep increasing, increasing, and increasing, so I'm not going to go. Rohini said, you're not going to go? He said, yes, but I'll send Uddhava. Uddhava with messages to the Brajabasis, to calm them down, to appease their feelings of separation. So he called for Uddhava. Now Uddhava, he's one of the main characters in Dwarka. You should actually have maybe you have a beautiful photo of Uddhava somewhere. He's Krishna's closest friend. And he acts as a confidant, we say in French. He's like the secretary. And he's so much in love with Krishna that he looks like Krishna. Sometimes I see children, some of your children, they're born from you, and they look like you. They have the face of the father or the mother like that. So one who's born from the love of Krishna, in other words, our second birth is not a birth into this material world. Our second birth is our spiritual birth, like at the moment of initiation. It's the second birth, like that. So when we're born from the mercy of Krishna, like Uddhava, he looked just like Krishna. He just didn't have that Srivatsa curl. Krishna has that little curl. Look, he's same color, lean, beautiful, long flowing black hair. So Krishna said, I'll send him. And when he came, Krishna dressed him he dressed Uddhava in his own clothes. And he called for the chariot. He had all these messages for different groups of devotees. Go to Vrindavan with my message for my beloveds. So he even escorted Uddhava to the chariot. He placed him in. He bade him farewell. So to make a long story short, because we could go on for hours relishing, New Dwarka Dham ki! Rukmini Dwarkadish ki! So arriving in Braj, Uddhava first went to see Nanda Baba, Mother Yashoda. He approached their home. They hadn't moved since Krishna left. She was still, her hand was with the wooden spoon in the pot, cooking the milk for Lala. But the milk had long dried up, and there were cobwebs everywhere. And she's saying to Nanda Maharaj, can you see him? Has he come on the horizon? Lala? And the tears, there's a constant puddle of tears on the kitchen floor. My dear husband, is Lala there? And Nanda Maharaj is at the entrance to the door. He's all covered with cobwebs. He hasn't moved. I don't see him. But wait, he might come any second. This makes our heart flutter, yes? Krishna. So when Uddhava came to the house of Nanda Maharaj, he walked in. What is this? This bhakti they have for Krishna? So upon seeing Uddhava, and Uddhava identified himself as a messenger of their son. Oh, finally our son has sent a message. Isn't it when your son goes to university? Every day you're waiting for a phone call, isn't it, Mataji's? You're waiting for the phone call. Or you're waiting for, Diwali when he can come home and you can feed him sweets again. So upon seeing Nanda Maharaj, eager for Krishna, Uddhava said the following. Actually, let's hear first from Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj, he opened his heart. He said to Uddhava, that boy who was the color of a rain cloud, who first entered my heart and lived there for so long, only to take birth from the womb of his mother, tell me, does he remember his father? O hero Uddhava, tell me, does he, who is no longer with us, remember his mother who fed him her breast milk, who was always anxious for his safety, and who has not opened her eyes since he left us? Does he remember his friends who would never separate from him, and from whose sides he would not stray even for a moment as they herded cows throughout the forest and enjoyed picnics together? And the cows he fed, caressed, and milked with his own hands. The cows he considered dearer than his very self. The cows that now stand like statues, staring down the road to Mathura. Uddhava, does he remember them? So then Uddhava, well, I've got a letter from Krishna. He wanted to say something to you. He understands your separation. And here's Krishna's letter to Nanda and Yasoda. It's like this would make a great cinema, a great movie. This is like one of the parts where the audience is, whoa. So Krishna's message to Nanda and Yasoda: don't worry, my dear parents. I'm the supreme truth. I'm the supreme pure. I'm the eternal person. Everyone is dependent on me. So don't feel you are disconnected from me. A bit, straightforward. Maya. I'm the supreme truth, the supreme pure. I'm the eternal person. Everyone's dependent on me. You're not disconnected from me. So when Nanda and Maharaj and Yashoda heard that message, they objected. Would you like to hear Mother Yashoda's objection? She said to Uddhava, Krishna's not the supreme pure. He would roll in the dust every half hour and I'd have to bathe him. And Nanda Baba said, he's not the supreme truth. He would steal butter. And we would catch him and chastise him and he would deny it. He's got butter all over his cheeks. I didn't steal the butter, Balaram stole it. He would lie. How can a liar be the supreme truth? Why hear any other things? The mundane novels, the news, the newspapers, the love songs, it's all garbage. So Mother Yasoda, she added, he's not the eternal person. He took birth from me. He's my little Lala. We saw him grow up with our very eyes. So by the power of Yogamaya, they don't realize Krishna's God. They only saw him as the most lovable child. This is Vrindavan. Shri Prajabhumi Shri Vrindavan Dhamake. So Uddhava, he never heard talk like this in Dwarka. Sir, yes sir. Where again the Lord is worshipped as he wants to be in awe and reverence. So when he considered the reactions of Nanda and Yashoda, he became very appreciative of it's described the special nature of their spontaneous love. And he thought, these Brajabasis have such intimate love for Krishna. They're thinking the king has become their son. So the next morning, Uddhava bathed and he dressed in fresh clothes and he went to a grove of trees near Nandagram. That place is now called Uddhavagiri. It's one of the favorite places I like to take devotees on parikrama. Uddhavagiri. It'd be a nice name for somebody. Your name was Uddhavagiri Das. Well, thank you, Guru Maharaj. I met one boy today, his name was Gopi Bhav Das. I thought that was a name for a girl. He said, don't even think about changing my name. Gopi Bhav Das. So, Uddhavagiri. And there, by pre-arrangement, gopis were waiting. Oh my gosh. This part is just touching. But maybe it's late, I'll save it for next year. Should I continue or should I wait till next year? Continue! Who wants to go home and sleep in ignorance? Who wants to Jeev Dago wake up by hearing these wonderful things? So as he arrived, the gopis were stunned because he looked so much like Krishna. And he was dressed in Krishna's clothes. But they know Krishna. If you love someone, you know everything about them. So they gathered around him. It's described like bees around a honey flower. Krishna consciousness is so poetic. They gathered around him like bees around a honey. Krishna, 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 Krishna. And then without further ado, he started reading Krishna's letter to them. Now, we heard the letter Krishna wrote to Nanda and Yasoda. Listen to the letter that he wrote to the gopis. My dear girls, you may think I have left you, but in fact, I haven't really left you. Just consider I'm in everyone's heart. I'm in your heart. Dear gopis, I'm in every atom. So how have I left you? There's no reason to lament, there's no reason to cry, because we are as connected as before. Oh. So hearing it, like gopis are like, wait a minute, Krishna's treating us like jnanis. We're just simple village girls. We're not interested in all this complicated philosophy. We just miss Krishna and we want to be with him again. Braja Gopis. So hearing the gopis speak like this, Uddhava thought to himself, I thought I appreciated Krishna. I thought I loved Krishna. But these milkmaids, these gopis, they love him more than anyone's ever been loved before. So this is one reason that, because Uddhava was so near and dear, like, when you have an important mission, you pick the best person, the one nearest, dearest, the most competent person, you send that person to do the work, right? A businessman will send his secretary or something. So for this to somewhat appease, it didn't really work, but to give the message to the residents of Vrindavan, he chose Uddhava. But because Uddhava was so near and dear to him, he wanted Uddhava to witness the Brajbasi's love. And by Prabhupada's grace alone, we're also being introduced to this love. We don't claim to have that love yet, but we want to have lolium through our practice of sadhan bhakti, rising early, going to Mangalarti, worshipping our deities, chanting our 16 rounds, following the regulative principle, serving Krishna our way through sadhan bhakti. We want to come to that stage like the residents of Vrindavan. We know who we are and we know where we're going. I often say in the West, when I ask people about God, I'll say, who is God? He's God. Of course, he's God. Can you tell me something more? He lives up there. It's called heaven. And if I'm good, I'll go there. If I'm bad, I'll go down. With all due respect, I'm always very respectful to all the bona fide religions. How can you love someone you know nothing about? And this is the beauty of our Krishna conscious movement, the beauty of our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, even more than other Sampradayas, with great respect. Love is in the details. We know so much about Krishna. And any opportunity we have, we should read Prabhupada's books and try to understand Krishna more and more. And every day, we should pray to Krishna. We want to chant the mantra, but this mantra, Hare Krishna mantra, it's more than just a mantra. It's more like an appeal from the heart. It's like a prayer. My dear Lord, my dear Radharani, Ladini Shakti, pleasure potency, please, won't you pick me up from this world of death and fix me as an atom at your lotus feet? Take me home. I want to go home. I've had enough material life. Purify me of all selfish desires. I just want to be your devotees. And why do you want to be? Because we know Krishna. One time Prabhupada joked in the 1960s, we know his telephone number. He said, what is his telephone number? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. So Uddhava, we'll conclude here. Uddhava lived in Vrindavan for 8 months. And during that visit, Rasika book, during that visit, he repeatedly, because he took messages to the cowherd boys, he took messages to even the trees, they're also enlightened souls. He took messages to the dust of Vrindavan, who's also a personality. He repeatedly saw the pure love of the Brajbasis. But he had to go back to Dwarka. So after returning to Dwarka, he would very often pray like this. And you can also learn this prayer here. The gopis of Vrindavan have given up the association of their husbands, sons, and other family members who are very difficult to give up, and they have forsaken the path of chastity to take shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, Krishna, which one should search for by Vedic knowledge. Oh, let me be fortunate enough to be one of the bushes, the creepers, or the herbs in Vrindavan, because the gopis trample them and bless them daily with the dust of their lotus feet. Hare Krishna. So, again, all of you are very fortunate to be living in this wonderful abode of New Dwarka, serving your lordships in awe and reverence. That's the first step. It's a big step. And in doing so, your hearts will gradually become purified, and one day while living here, you'll ask permission from your temple authorities. I want to go live eternally in Vrindavan Dham. It's okay to hanker for Vrindavan, do your seva here, but like Krishna, while he was in Braj, relishing the Aishwarya Bhav, and we must be very serious about our sadhana, our Aishwarya Bhav, but in our hearts of hearts, we want to remember how Krishna, when he was in Dwarka, he was thinking of the gopis. You look at your Dwarkadish, what's he thinking? He's thinking of Braj. So like father, like son, like daughter, you also think of Braj. And one day, desire to live there because all your desires will be fulfilled. One time, Vrindavan's so potent, just by going there, your Braj Bhakti will be awoken. One time on a parikrama around Vrindavan with a small group of disciples, Prabhupada said, and I'll conclude with this. Yes, he said, that effect of living in Vrindavan and being so close to Krishna cannot be overestimated. At every turn, you're reminded of Krishna here, and your spiritual strength increases due to that contact. Srila Prabhupada ki, New Dwarka Dhama ki, Mathura Dhama ki, Vrindavan Dhama ki, back home, back to Godhead ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaurnitai ki, Shri Krishna Sankirtan Yagya ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Jai Jai Sri Radhe, Jai Jai Sri Radhe, Jai Jai Sri Radhe. Shah. Thank you. There's one little boy here. What is your name? Huh? Anand. Well, that's a good name. Come. How old are you, Anand? What is your age? What is your age? 11. But you were listening to everything I said. How 11 years old you can understand such philosophy? I give you my notes. All right, we'll do it later. These are my notes. You can't share them with anyone. You memorize these notes and then destroy them. And when you're 75 years old like me, you give the same lecture to the audience. And there's one little boy here. I just have to take off my microphone. Ah. It's like a whole opera.
His Holiness Indradyumna Swami Maharaj ki jai.
We'll exchange garlands. It's a love. When a sannyasi visits your home, you have to give him anything he wants. And it's so cold outside, I don't have a hat. But I think this hat's a little small. So I'll give it back to you as Maha. Maha hat. He's also exceptional. In the Kirtan, he was like, blessings. Tell your mommy, when you're 16, you're coming with me. I'd like to leave something for all of you. I'd like to propose. It's a little embarrassing, but this book is called The Sacred Forests of Vrindavan. Specifically the western bank of the Jamuna. During the COVID, that's a bad word, COVID. During the pandemic, I was locked down in Vrindavan. Don't feel sorry for me. 3 years I was in my room. I traveled the world for 52 years as a sannyasi. I couldn't stay in one place more than 3 days. I circled the world 17 times in different countries and so. And I came to India for a short break, 4 or 5 days, and then the government said, no one can leave the country, no one can come in the country, COVID. And I didn't want to leave my apartment because people were dying in the streets. So I looked at my library. I said, okay, I'm going to read. But after reading for 1 year, I figured, well, I'm supposed to share. Vaishnava is supposed to share the knowledge. So the subject matter for all those years was just Vrindavan. And it wasn't difficult because Vrindavan, there's 60 billion holy places. So to date I've given, I'm not trying to glorify myself, it's just a fact. To date I've given 520 lectures just about Vrindavan. And many of you know I have a YouTube channel, and every Friday I upload a new lecture about Vrindavan. On Indradyumna Swami. So you can join, and I hope it can go on for many, many years because it's just so dear to my heart. And my disciples took some of the first lectures, and they transcribed them into this book, the 12 Forests of Vrindavan. This is the perfect Parikrama guide. When we go to Vrindavan, we don't often know so much. We search out Dinabandhu, he's my Parikrama guru, Radhanath Swami, or Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj, Bhakti Vikash Maharaj, these are my seniors. So, we go to hear from them, what is Vrindavan like? So this book allows you to hear about Vrindavan when you go there. You just open up, what's happening at Govardhan Hill? Whoa, there's photos about Govardhan. And there's so much knowledge is there. Many, many photos are here, actually. Krishna Balaram in our temple. So it's just chock full of descriptions of the holy places in detail. The personalities, Radha and Krishna, Lalita and Vishaka, Krishna Balaram, Raktak, Sridham, what the pastimes were, what the mood is, how to get there. So yeah, this is the first. I think we're planning 50 volumes. 50 volumes. So this is the first, and it's done in a very nice way because Vrindavan deserves to be presented in a first-class way. So you see the raised text here, and it's got the first-class paper. The best paper you can get, etc., etc. It's all very, very nicely done, edited, etc. So it's really expensive. But you get what you pay for. It's 2,500 rupees.
Rivo.
I didn't say $2,500. It's an investment. It's a little expensive, but if I was going to Vrindavan, I would like to know what's happening there. I don't know, just look. So here it's all described. If you can't go to Vrindavan, you can prepare yourself for going to Vrindavan by reading this book through and through. So when you get to Vrindavan, yes, now I know. I read The Sacred Forest of Vrindavan, volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you can become a parikrama guide. Okay? So I know it's late, but I have a pen, one man on an airplane. He was someone described him as a crorepati. What's a crorepati? Crorepati, what's that? Huh? A billionaire. He said, Swamiji, I watched your lectures on YouTube. You do? Who are you? He said, if I told you, you would faint. But you tell your friends I'm crorepati. So I said, okay, nice, Mr. Can I address you as Mr. Crorepati? No. He said, but I want to give you a gift because I gave him one of these books. He said, can you sign the book? I said, yeah, okay. He said, I'm going to give you my pen. I said, okay. I thought it was like a little pen. It was in his pocket like that. You know how the businessmen have their pens? He said, this is Mont Blanc. I said, what? Mont Blanc's a mountain in France. He said, no, it's a famous pen from Germany, and it costs so much money. I forget, some rupees or something. He said, I'm giving it to you. I said, I can't take it, I'm sannyasi. He said, no. He used the word yukta vairagya. I said, where'd you learn that? I go to ISKCON temples incognito. You use it in the service of your spiritual master. I said, okay. So I have this pen. So in the book, in the front cover, there's a little sticker here. So if you, not with my pen, but you write your name here in bold letters, I'll be very happy to sign the book as the author. I'm not really the author, I'm just repeating what I've learned. I'll sign the book with a date and a little dedication, and then you can remember this wonderful time we all had together tonight, hearing about the glories of New Dwarka Dham and your beautiful deities of Shishi, Rukmini, Dwarka, kind of a memento. So I have one of my secretaries, Rasika. Do you want to say something? All right, make way for the secretary. Well, I'm a little bit emotional tonight because this is our last stop on a 6-week tour throughout India. We went all through southern India, through central India. We distributed or we sold 2,000 copies of this book, 2,000. And luckily I think we have enough for tonight, right? We have enough left. So, maybe you'll see us crying. Not tears of love, but tears of separation from this wonderful opportunity to share the glories of Vrindavan with all the wonderful devotees in ISKCON in this country. You're doing a great job. Prabhupada's so proud of all of you. Revitalizing the wonderful Vedic culture, particularly our Krishna conscious culture in this country. May you all be blessed by the mercy of our founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada. So thank you. Rasika.
Hare Krishna. As Maharaj said, we will be selling the Forest of Vrindavan book here. Each book costs 2,500 rupees.
Yikes.
You can either pay by Google Pay or cash. You can make a line here and get the book, and then you can write your name in the post-it note in capital letters, and you can form a line over there, and Maharaj would sign the book for you. Thank you.
Srila Prabhupada ke, Rukmini Dwarkadesha ke, New Dwarka Dham ke, the Dhamvasis ke, Srila Prabhupada ke, Hari Bol!
His Holiness Indradyumna Swami Maharaj Ji ki jai. Let's pay our gratitude to Maharaj by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
I think he's buying from Gurudev.
That is my mark.
Yeah. I'll take it. आप मुझे दे दीजिए.
This is going to fall.
प्रभु जी, आप मुझे दे दीजिए. हाँ.